Midnight Double Feature presents Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. On this episode, we bring you Season 4, Episode 5, Shotgun, written by Thomas Schnauz and directed by Michelle McLaren. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back for another episode of Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. With me, as always, is my main man, Colin. Colin, what's happening, baby?
Hey, what's up, buddy? I'm excited. I'm here to talk about some Breaking Bad. Ride shotgun to your mic. I'll be the Jesse to your mic this episode. So this is interesting. I think this is an incredible episode. I like this a lot. I think this has probably been one of my more favorite recent episodes. And I have a theory that I'm going to throw at you. And I'm not demanding you tell me it's true or not, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I mean, that's what this podcast is built on, right? Like the mystery of you not knowing what's coming, in broad terms.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something, Colin. You are not the guy. I had a guy, but you are not the guy.
That's great.
No, but welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's the bald guy who smokes meth here? Excuse me? I'm just kidding.
Does that mean I own a chicken supply store and am the head honcho of said meth industry because I'm brown skinned?
That would be so funny. Be like, yeah, he's supposed to run a meth empire, but he won't stop eating all the chicken.
Dude, that would be such a
like you can't stop.
Dude, that would be such like a fucking. Oh my god, I would not be able to focus on target.
That's
dude,
great.
If I owned a fucking chicken shop. Anyway, so let me also by the way, just while I'm thinking about it, we're already off the rails here. I need to send you on Twitter this video of just there's a moment later in this season of Gus getting shot at, like without like spoiling it for you, but people have like edited like, and he's just kind of like walking towards the shooter, like without fear, and people have edited like everyone in pop culture history, like shooting at him, like Iron Man and fucking Gandalf's there, like you shall not pass. Like it gets so ridiculous, and like Gus just continues on, but it's such a like a seamless and like amazing edit and over the top. I gotta send it to you anyway. Remind me to do that later. But look.
Okay,
we're not here for that. We're here to talk about Shotgun, season 4, episode 5. We're nearing the middle of the season. Things are very quite clearly ramping up. Walt, as always, is panicking. He's starting to get more and more paranoid. 2 people find their purpose in this episode. They're kind of like re-sparked and rekindled to get back on the trail of whatever the hell they were doing. Walt's control over his situation continues to disintegrate. Walt feels that he's losing control over Jesse. You know, I feel like that this is the first time since season 1 that Jesse isn't really under the direct supervision of Walt in this world. Like Walt, like we're seeing Mike take Jesse under his wing, much to Mike's chagrin. Like this is obviously under Gus's orders. But yeah, by the end of this episode, Mike gives Jesse some sense of purpose, you know, as like his bodyguard, or you know, just kind of like to come along on this like this pickup route, whatever. Like Jesse is no longer in this like 5 episode slump of like going further and further into the depths of hell in his mind after wasting Gale. What did you think about Jesse's sort of like overall arc in this episode?
I thought it was interesting because, I mean, the big thing that is obvious that jumped out to us and Jesse is that they're going to, when Mike pulls out the shovel, it's like, oh, all hell. So I think that we've come to know the show well enough to know that they're not just going to take him out of the desert and shoot him like this ungracefully. That there's something else at play here, and I think that it's Gus capitalizing on the. Gus is a smart person. He understands that Walt made Jesse pull that trigger and do that to save his life, and he's a very smart person. He obviously keeps an eye on them outside of work, and he knows what Jesse is going through, and he's capitalizing on that. He's using Jesse's grief to to reignite his passion for life. Really, really quick. There's a cartoon I watched growing up called Recess. Loved it. Disney's Recess.
Love
is fucking
Recess.
Great. Love Recess, dude. And in it, Vince,
the movie's also
athletic
good.
kid.
School's out.
Yes. I love Recess. Even now, I'll pop it on like on a Saturday morning or something. But there's an episode where Vince can't kick the ball anymore in kickball, and they make him this super gelatinous rubber ball that's like impossible for him, not to kick out of the atmosphere. And they give him the wrong ball. He kicks a regular ball. He knocks it out. He gets his confidence back, blah, blah, blah. And that's essentially what I feel like they've done here is they've orchestrated a scenario for Jesse to feel in control again and feel like a badass. And it's essentially like in Fight Club when they pull the gun on that guy and they're just like, you're going to go home tomorrow and you're going to look up vet schools or I'm going to blow your fucking head off. And it's like, in tomorrow morning, he'll wake up and be so thankful to be alive. It's Tony Soprano getting shot at by the, what he calls Moulignons in the Suburban, I love that. He's like, all that talk about dying. And then he's like, and waking up out of that coma, he's like, my dick's hard as a baguette, like, it's like, it gives you a new lease on life. So I think it's very smart on Gus to show that like Walt is not the only one that can be like picked and torn at and scratched at, that Jesse is a much, much easier target and much more easily manipulated.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I'm loving where your head's at with this. That's a great characterization. That's a great, and you can see our love for Sopranos seeping into our show, into Breaking Bad. That's forthcoming. But yeah, also in this episode, Walt's pride wins once again. Like Walt is a very he's a character who's full of terrible things, but like pride is probably his worst characteristic. And not once but twice does his sort of pride win in this episode, where obviously you've got the big one with Hank, but you've also got a sort of a much smaller one where at the end in the super lab when he finally encounters Jesse again, he kind of like talks about Jesse in such a way that's just like, oh, you're like Mike, like they want you, like what do you have to give, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just so I don't know, man. Like he's
right.
like he goes searching for Jesse in this episode, and like on first view it could be just out of like, oh, I kind of care about this kid, but like in another view you can kind of just be like, man, like I don't know, I feel like he's jealous. I feel like he's not the chosen one. Like, he's like, oh, why did they choose him and not me? And like also Jesse is my plaything. Like, Jesse is my
right
piece of clay to mold. He's not anyone else's to touch,
Well, and I think one of the reasons they're manipulating Jesse as well is they have dirt on Jesse. Jesse killed Gale, and like they have dirt on Walt, but they can't implicate Walt without implicating themselves as well. And it's like they can easily manipulate Jesse with like, yeah, you murdered an innocent person. Like, they don't have that kind of dirt on Walt. I don't think they know he killed Crazy 8 in season 1,
Absolutely. All right, let's kick this off. So this episode kicks off with a bang, with a shot of Walt just weaving through traffic while we hear Walt placing a call to Saul, making sure that Skyler gets everything. This opening scene, like before the title card, is so it's so different for Breaking Bad. Like it's so urgent. It feels like an action movie. Like they, by the way, the way it's shot is gorgeous. Like as we weave through traffic in that first person POV sort of
the shot on the Aztec.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool. But yeah, he then tries to dial Skylar and takes a deep breath as he gets the answering machine, and he says that he's thinking about her and the kids and that he loves her. And I just want to say that the music is just so good in this scene. Like it's so tense. It really sets up the scene.
Mhm.
As Walt sort of like reaches under the seat to retrieve the 38 that he bought from the black market arms dealer, and then boom, title card, credit card. It's early. It's early for me. All right. And then Walt rolls up to Los Pollos Hermanos, hand inside his jacket as he grips the 38. He marches inside and looks around for Gus, tells the server, demands from the server that he wants to see Gustavo Fring, and his car is parked out front. He knows he's here. And he's like, you just go in the back and you tell him it's Walter White. You understand? He'll know what it's about. Now, immediately, we are thinking as the audience, holy shit, like Walt is drawing a lot of attention to himself. This is no longer incognito Walter White. He's like straight up like told this person, it's Walter White. And I'm pretty much like threatening you. Like, granted, he doesn't raise the gun, he doesn't mention anything else, but he is like coming uncharacteristically like the Walter White that the whole world knows. This is a different side of Walter White who's come into this public place and told this server, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, where's Gus?
Yeah. Well, and it's all for naught either, because it's like all this panic and all this pomp and circumstance and getting the gun and I demand to speak to Gus. And it's all like, dude, everybody's fine. And it like Walt, you can tell like Walt's boner is so deflated. Like he's blue balled. Walt, like I feel like Walt wants this. Walt is looking at the cameras and he's looking at the guys coming in and he's looking at the fat guy in the restaurant looking at him. And he's like, expecting / wanting this confrontation. And when he doesn't get it, I think he's very much so like, this sucks. You know, like I thought it was going to get exciting for a minute. He's like an adrenaline junkie.
Which ties into, I think, his reasoning for saying what he does at the dinner table later in the episode, right? Like he's just it all goes hand in hand.
I agree.
It's
totally.
really good. It's really good stuff. Walt takes a seat and notices the camera is trained on him. Walt looks at this dude with a handlebar mustache, and man, this guy just looks like America. It's just America.
He reminds me of the
fucking mustache dude.
he reminds me of the fat zombie bikers from Shaun of the Dead, the biker twins.
Oh, dude,
you know?
yes.
That's the first thing I thought of.
And dude, what about fucking Walt? Because some guys just roll into the store and Walt just starts looking nervous. He's like,
oh, Mexicans. It's that part cracked me up where he's like, oh, brown, bang, 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 just starts unloading in the restaurant.
It's so true. It's so true because the look on his face is just genuinely like, oh shit, these are Gus's guys. Turns out
you live in Albuquerque.
These guys just want some fucking lunch, dude. Like,
right.
Oh shit.
Right. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh God. Talk about some profiling. Holy shit. The phone rings and it's Mike. He says that Jesse's with him and he's fine. He's cross my heart, Walter. Mike puts Jesse on the phone and Jesse's just like, yo, sup?
Yeah. I love this. I love how just deflated everything is immediately. It's so good. Like it feels like you can hear the gears grinding of getting slammed into reverse of just like, oh, wait, nothing's going on? Like, oh, okay.
No, it's beautiful because like Walt is such a control freak and Walt wants to be in control of every situation. He wants to be aware of every piece of information so he can like calculate his next move or calculate however best to get out ahead in front of someone. You know what I mean? Like, so him being left in the dark is probably the worst thing you can do to Walt.
Sure.
To be quite honest. Like if you were to torture Jesse, I think that would be less worse than keeping Walt in the dark and without information. Like to be quite honest, like this is the way to get to him.
No, yeah, knowledge is power in this world, and not having,
Mm,
any kind of control or knowledge is tantamount to failure for Walt.
definitely.
Excuse me.
Uh, yeah, Jesse doesn't seem to give a fuck, and Walt is just so paranoid. Driving where? Walt's clearly getting frustrated. He's being kept out of the loop, and Mike says that Walt has to go back to the lab and continue to cook. Goodbye, Walter. And he hangs up.
Hmm.
Frustrated and fed up, Walt storms into Gus's office, and nobody's there. And like I said, man, like he's clearly drawing attention to himself. Like this is kind of like high profile shit. Mike and Jesse pull into this dirt road. Jesse visibly starts getting a little panicky, and we see that he still does care about his life or well-being. Like
Hmm.
he isn't that kind of guy who's just who we saw in his lounge room before and just wants to roll over and die. He's taking defensive and preventative measures here when he pulls out the keys to sort of like prepare to defend himself.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think what's also like, this is one of the few times this season we've seen him away from Walt. And one of the first times he's away from Walt, he's like a flower now. He's,
He's
don't get me
alive.
wrong. It's because he thinks they're going to murder him. And then it goes from like, oh, I'm being murdered to extreme boredom and then back to being murdered. It's a lot that like they're basically jump starting Jesse's trauma to like, like get him like alive again. They're Frankensteining him. But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to see that without Walt, he actually kind of like, I think just having Walt away from him lets him forget about Gale. I think for sure that like with Walt there's always this looming. This is the person that you did this for.
What reminds me of the what is it? The locket from Harry Potter, one of the Horcruxes. Like it's
Oh
this
yeah.
all powerful thing, but like the more you keep it around you, the more you wear it. It's just like this black hole that just starts to
Hmm.
slowly kill you and drive you insane.
Yes, totally agree.
I could have used the Lord of the Rings ring, the One Ring as well, but
Yeah, that's
whatever.
true. That's true. Yeah.
You better shoot straight, old man, or I'll slice off your other ear, other ear before this is over.
Not a bad, not a bad, not a bad
Not a
comeback.
bad threat. No,
Yeah.
not a bad threat at all. Mike stops the car and grabs a shovel from the trunk. Jesse, like Walt a few moments before, is very jumpy and susceptible to paranoia right now. Mike takes the shovel and begins digging. And man, I love the sound design here. Like, there's no music; it's just completely silent, other than the metallic sort of clanging noise from the windmill overhead. It's good stuff.
Hmm.
Like, I love this about Breaking Bad. Like, they really know when to use music and when to use just ambient sounds. Like
Hmm.
just to really
Well,
create an atmosphere.
it feels so dry out there. Just like
Mm.
you get that feeling of just like like that like airy, dry climate. Like it feels like very tangible.
It feels very tangible, but like it also there's something about it that makes this feel like routine. Like that
Hmm.
this is like part of like Mike's everyday sort of like situation where he has to kind of go and pick up these dead drops for Los Pollos Hermanos, the whole the meth operation. This is how Gus makes his money. But like there is just something so routine and unexciting about it, which
Yeah,
is
it's a
which is
Tuesday.
the
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, where are we? Where are we? So Mike lifts the cover and takes out the dead drop, returns to the car, and checks the cash inside the bag. We got to do this 6 more times today with a lot of miles in between. I'd like to finish before dark. Jesse gets in the car and they take off. And we cut over to Hank. He's talking to APD Detective Tim Roberts. Tim asks Hank whether Gale was Heisenberg, and Hank certainly thinks so. He says that Badger is not a player. The other person of interest who he caught with Crystal Blue was Jesse. What does he call
Mhm.
him? Little shit stain Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, a little cum stain that he is or
Cup
something.
stain.
That's great.
But when pressed, Hank certainly doesn't think that Jesse shot Gale. Right? He's like, he doesn't strike
Mm.
me as the type. Tim gives Hank a sketch of Gus's guy, Victor, who Hank doesn't recognize. Victor, of course, was spotted at the apartment block by some onlookers. Hank talks about how finding Heisenberg dead like this feels like closure to him and that he's done, right? Tim
Hmm.
packs up his shit and heads on out.
I also think it's telling that yeah, as awful as it is to say this, Gus was totally right in killing Victor. 100%. This is 100% of the reason why he did this, because they have a fucking sketch of him. They have prints. Like, dude, like Vic would have fallen, and he knows that like this guy would have given us up and would have given up the whole operation. So we just cut the finger to save the hand.
Yeah.
And as cold and calculating as it is, that's 100%. This is why, like, when you do business with someone like Gus Fring, he only deals in absolutes, and this person being spotted or leaving a fingerprint is just an absolute no, can't happen.
And I don't think we give Gus, I know we give Gus enough credit for being a fucking genius, but holy shit, man, has he made some maneuvers
Mm-hmm.
to really solidify himself in like this drug game and like really solidify himself as just a figure who is so far out of like Walt's sphere of just
Yeah.
like, you don't know what the fuck you're dealing with. This guy works 10 moves ahead. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
guy knew to kill Victor because, like you said, like he was spotted by witnesses, he left fingerprints, etc., etc. But then also he's doing this thing to Jesse to like revitalize him. For what purposes we'll come to find out, right? But like, it's still, we're still in the midst of like Gus's plan unraveling, and like Walt is just so behind on everything that Gus does.
Right. Well, and Gus is not violent for violence sake. Like, he is violent because he has to be. Like, I feel like, and I might be talking a little bit out of turn because Gus is a character better than I do, but I feel like if Gus could just run this company with no violence, there would be no violence. He would, like, it's not professional. Why would I do that? Why would I cause a ruckus when there's no need for one? So the fact that he's willing to go this far, it's usually out of necessity. So far, it has been almost always out of necessity.
So at this decrepit warehouse, Mike collects another dead drop. He sees Jesse's standing guard. He's standing like he's the bouncer outside of a club, dude. Like
It's like T2, like when he's staying in there in the gas station, just like sentry mode.
Dude, it's so good. Jesse says that he needs a gun to look out for Mike in a guard type capacity. He says, and of course, Mike says no. Jesse pulls out a cigarette in the car. He's just like, Mike's just like, not a chance. And then we cut to this pretty awesome time lapse of Jesse and Mike as they collect the dead drops. Dude, how good is this, man? How good is this?
I love this style of editing. This is used in a lot of my favorite movies where like just it's a stylistic way to burn time and show the boredom without actually spending time in the boredom. I love it. Them stopping to piss and him like sword fighting with like the radio thing, and I'm just like, God damn it, dude! Like, and it's a stylistic choice that again, I think I have ADD because I love this kind of shit. Like that Edgar Wright, like that kind of editing is just always what really catches my eye. And I think it's one of the most stylistic shots in the show I've seen so far that really doesn't feel like
it's gorgeous.
What I've come to know Breaking Bad in,
No, it's gorgeous because it not only is it a montage and like shows the passage of time, but like it's also just showing us like how menial this is and like how routine this is for Mike, and like Jesse's just kind of been like flung along for the ride kind of thing, and it's so good. Like plus like we also build chemistry between Jesse and Mike without having to really go through the motions of building chemistry. Like, we see like little moments of Jesse during this time lapse. We see little moments of Jesse and Mike kind of like chatting to each other, but like very fast. Like there's a moment where they're like standing on each side of the car and like Mike's like pointing to Jesse and like it seems like he's yelling at him if you watch it really carefully. But like I don't know, man. It's just like one of the things of like you've now like literally fast forwarded through the chemistry, and like now I believe that these two can have a conversation amicably and whatever, So yeah,
I agree.
Um, Jesse tells Mike that he gets what's going on, right? Me and my boys, we had the exact same system when we were running things, same theory, maintain separation between dealer and supplier, reduce risk. And he says, don't you think if there was some back and forth, sorry, don't you think it'd be good if there was some back and forth communication here? And Mike remains silent and pulls over, right? You are not the guy. You are not capable of being the guy. I had a guy, but now I don't. You are not the guy. Mike
Mhm.
is, of course, angry that he lost Victor, right? Tells Jesse that he doesn't know why he's here. He's just doing as he's told. Mike is a very loyal foot soldier.
Yeah, and well, and I think not only did he lose Victor, but now he's lost Victor's replacement to Walt for the time being. Which we'll get to, but you can tell that he's annoyed that whereas Mike can just sit there and say, "Okay, well, this is what we're doing. I don't know why, and I don't need to know why." Whereas Walt will load up a 38 special and run to a chicken restaurant and start blasting Mexicans if you don't tell him what's going on. So I think it's kind of interesting that. Even though on paper they actually look pretty similar, they're like totally different people in the way they go about knowledge and control. And I think that Mike can relish in the confidence because he's on the side of the guy who's 10 steps ahead, and Walt's not.
Absolutely. I did want to just really quickly go back to that time lapse and mention I'd be remiss if I didn't use the word discipline in this episode because like this is something that's routine for Mike. This is process and order and discipline. And these are just things that Jesse is not used to. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I did just want to kind of like really sort of like step that out because it is new for Jesse and it is something that he's learning from Mike. Um
Yeah.
More so than he learned from Walt, I think. Walt is someone who pretty much like a hammer and a nail. Like Walt tried to
Mm-hmm.
like really beat it into him, and I don't know. Like I feel like Mike's teaching method is,
I totally agree. And I also think
yeah,
that because Jesse knows Walt in a totally different capacity, he can't take him
mm,
seriously in this kind of role. Whereas Mike, all he knows of Mike is this life. So he's like, okay, well, this
yeah.
guy's a pro. So I better shut the fuck up and listen to
He
him.
knows he's efficient. Yeah, absolutely. He
Yes.
knows he's efficient.
Very quickly, this is what I wanted to talk about. Like my little theory real quick. I think
Go
Mike
for it.
has cancer and he's gonna die. I think Mike has lung cancer, doesn't he? Because he coughs like like he's coughed a couple of times this episode. And then when Jesse goes to light up the cigarette, he goes, not a chance. Like no way. And I think everything in his car is that old purple kind of like fabric. I 100% think that Mike and Walt have a very similar situation where Walt has a daughter and a grandkid, and he's doing this till either death or retirement and just wants a better life for them. And that's it. I bet I would almost bet money on it. I just think it's a little interesting. Like Mike has a couple of little like like times in the last few episodes, and then when Jesse goes to smoke, he's like, not a chance. It's like, really? You protect a meth kingpin and you won't let a guy smoke in your car? And I'm like, I don't know. I just find that kind of interesting.
I'm gonna play the fifth here because, of course, like I was gonna do that. But like, let's put a pin in that and let's just put a note in that and like say that you made this theory in episode 5 of season 4, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how far down the road this goes.
Okay. Okay.
But
We'll see. We'll see.
I like where your head's at though. I
Okay.
I think like I didn't. I'm going to just separate what I know for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the first time when I saw this, I was like, I didn't really clock the cancer thing. I'm not confirming whether it happens or not.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that him saying not a chance to the cigarette was the discipline part of it. Like
I can see
was
that as
the
well. I think that's
what
the surface
yeah.
level reading, but I think underneath is a much more.
Oh, so you're saying I'm a fucking idiot? Is that what you're saying?
I think most people when they watch, because also there's something of like I am a smoker and
Yeah.
I do need to stop, and there's times where I catch myself like and I'm like, oh shit, I need to stop smoking, and like so as a smoker I caught that and I was like, that's interesting. I wonder why he's like, he's caught like it's very I just think it's very interesting, and I'll be curious to see, like, because we also don't know Mike's motivation for this life. How does a cop become this person? And I think that facing a terminal illness can really do that to you, similar to Walt.
All right.
You know, how does a cop and a teacher become a bodyguard and a meth cook? You know what I mean?
All right. I like your style. Let's
Excellent.
put a pin in
Excellent.
it for now. We'll come back to it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Walt is cooking by himself back at the super lab. He's clearly exhausted just doing this by himself, and his watch beeps and he takes off. Cut to Skylar and Walt signing the paperwork for their car wash. It's official, says Skylar. She says she's feeling nervous and scared, and Walt reassures her that they'll be fine. And then Skylar's just like, tell me again. She makes him a promise. She makes him promise that there can be no more secrets between each other. There has to be complete honesty, no more mistakes like before. They own a big ass car wash now, non-fancy liquor to celebrate. And of course, pretty much like right on cue, as soon as like Walt makes a promise that there can't be any secrets, she hears the voicemail that he left on the voicemail on the answering machine earlier. Hits play, and of course it's Walt from the cold open. Walt's face is just what, man, Bryan Cranston. I know that this is Bryan Cranston's like show and whatever, and we've kind of like stopped praising how good he is in this show because we're just so used to it. But holy fuck, man, when it comes to moments like this where he is like having to sort of like act in sheer terror, but like Skylar is just like, because he obviously thinks that like this is like, Skylar's obviously going to ask questions like why he left this answering like voicemail. But like Bryan Cranston is so good at the panic face, like the oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, but like he, his initial reaction is to panic, and then having just promised Skylar there'll be no more secrets, Skylar misinterprets the meaning of the message, and for the first time in this show, we see Mr. and Mrs. White genuinely making love. This is we've seen them have sex before, but nothing like this. Like bump, 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 blow. Like
that first one was like scheduled suburban sex. This is just like, like let's do a line and fuck like animals kind of thing.
Right. Do you remember in the pilot when she like gives him a hand job like off on his birthday and they're in bed?
Unenthusiastic
so
hand
obligatory job. Yeah, whereas this is like, oh, this gets me hot under the collars. And this says a lot about who Skylar is as a person now. This tells us that like the fact that she's bought this this car wash and gone further and deeper into this world of criminality. And this gets her hot under the collars. This gets the vapors going. This gets her soaking wet.
Yeah. She's like slipping all over those hardwood floors. Yeah.
Right. She will be supplying the water at the car wash.
Yeah.
That's going to be happening. Oh, man. Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. In the morning, they're cuddling, and Walt's like, these sheets have a smell. They're different before. All right, relax, Walt.
Yeah, detective.
Skylar tells Hank that they have. Skylar tells Walt that they have dinner tomorrow night at Hank's place. Marie says it's the only thing that gets Hank out of his room. And here comes Walt Jr. coming in to ruin the day.
Yeah,
Walt could have had some good morning sex. You know how good morning sex is, dude. It's fucking
pretty
good.
Nice.
It's how you start your day, and then it's all downhill from there. So, like, you want to start your day like pretty good with morning sex. Anyway, so he could have had morning sex. He could have like whatever. But here's Walt Jr. looking for breakfast.
Yeah, I was gonna say every single time, like that kid walks in, is breakfast ready? Like immediately,
breakfast ready? Do you have Captain Crunch?
I love Walt. Just like, yeah, here's breakfast. It's it's Raisin Bran, and just starts beating the shit out of the kid. Here's Honey Bunches of Oats, and just starts like fisticuffs. I'm trying to fuck your mother. I'm taking your mother to the car wash.
Oh, sure. Tumble dry,
I'm the
bitch.
danger.
All right.
I'm the danger. I'm the danger.
Skyler's like, tell me again that we're gonna be fine. All right. Walt says that Junior knows that he's there, right? Because Walt's parked in the driveway, and he's going to ask about their living situation. And Skyler suggests that Walt move back in, right? Just so it's easy to explain to everyone. Walt's watch alarm goes off, and he says he has to go back to work. Schedule, he says. He doesn't give He doesn't give Skyler an answer. Gives her a kiss and leaves. Effectively, leaves her with blue balls and just kind of like dips out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you reckon he made her come last night, or is he kind of like a I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to bed. Yeah. I'm done. I'm rolling over. I'm going to bed. Actually, Skyler strikes me as someone who's probably who has like an orgasm like once a year, and that's it.
Yeah, like Phyllis in The Office, where she's like, I didn't have an orgasm until I was 37 years old. She's like, she's like, one time I had an orgasm from 43 to 44, and the whole year was just a blur. I think it's interesting that like we're seeing them kind of like in this moment push closer, and then right when we're starting talking about putting lives back together, Walt like separates them again. Much like how he separated her cheeks. But I think that it's interesting that he just kind of leaves her in this like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry, the mess signal's up. I've got to go.
Separated her flaps as well. I completely agree. All right, so we're at the super lab. Walt's trying to drive the forklift, but doesn't know how to maneuver it. He ends up dropping the battle of methylamine. Damn it! He starts yelling at the camera, saying it's a 2-man job. Nothing else happens until he gets his partner back. Later, Walt hears the door open, and Walt runs outside thinking it's Jesse, but it's actually Tyrus. He's listening to Walt's babbling, right? Jesse operates a forklift. It's just one of the many, many things he keeps on schedule.
Well, now we know Walt didn't make Skyler come because he's not forklift certified.
That's true. That's right. Well, Walt would say it's a 2-man job.
That's good. That's good.
Just Walt and Ted.
Yeah, Walt and Ted.
The most boring Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. The most safe vanilla Eiffel Tower ever.
Oh man. Tyrus just ignores him and gets on the forklift, picking up the barrel and just asks him where he wants it. Careful there, Tyrus, because if you actually start, careful, just be very careful. You saw what happened to the last guy who tried to cook. All right.
Yeah. Tyrus is going to go to Skyler's house and lift a lot more than a barrel. You know what I mean? Like this guy's forklift certified.
This guy walks into Skyler's house, and Skyler's immediately like, "All right, I'm done with Walt. This guy's got a snake."
Tyrus walks in the house and slips on the floor immediately. He's like, "What the fuck?" It's like Diddy's house. Sorry. Anyway,
Skyler wants her BBC. Cut to Mike and Jesse in the dark alley as they make their final stop. As Mike goes to make his collection, Jesse waits in the car and notices someone rolling up behind the car with a shotgun. Right. And I love Breaking Bad's titles. Like whenever they title an episode, usually it's a double entendre. As it is here. Jesse guns the car and reverses into the dude's car, taking off in the process. The guys chase Jesse while Mike comes out with a dead drop, left to stand alone with the money. Cut to Mike at Garcia's on Central, placing a call for a pickup, but cancels the ride when Jesse rolls up in Mike's car to pick him up. This dude was coming right at me with a shotgun. And this is the most animated we've seen Jesse this entire season. He's clearly overwhelmed. He can't catch his breath. Goes to smoke a cigarette, and Mike says, "Go ahead, kid, smoke up."
Yeah, I dig it, man. I dig it. I think my interpretation of this is either, I think that this is just once they make all the drops, they hand all the drops over to a different person, and this is just who that person is. Or this is a manufactured scenario by Gus to, give Jesse his balls back in a way. Because if that guy wanted to kill Jesse, people with shotguns don't just dive to the ground. Like he would have just bang, bang, like in Heat when Sizemore has that shotgun just unloading on that dude in the drive-in, and it's like he's at point blank range. He could have blown Jesse's brains out if he wanted to, you know. So I think this is either just the guy who was supposed to collect all of the pickups, or this was a scenario done by Gus. And I think one of the biggest things about the scene that went past me the first time that I saw it is Jesse goes and finds Mike. Jesse doesn't just run off into the night and hides. He comes back, and because it's what a professional would do. And I love that. I love that
It's
Jesse
beautiful.
is without knowing it, he's kind of auditioning, I feel like, for a role. I feel like he's being trained as maybe a partner or a replacement, a bit of a Men in Black kind of thing, you know?
I like where your head's at, because it's discipline and loyalty.
Right.
Like, it's two things that Jesse at the beginning of this show did not have at all,
Mhm.
and now here he is. I want to touch on your theory about whether whether this is orchestrated by Gus, or whether this is they were supposed to hand over the
Part
cash
of the
to
schedule.
someone else.
Yeah.
So I can just like tell you right now that like it is not part of the schedule. Like Mike hands the money to Gus. He is the final link in the chain.
Mm.
We find that out in Better Call Saul without like spoiling anything. We see the entire process in Better Call Saul. Like
Mhm.
Mike, including Mike picking up all the dead drops and delivering it to Gus. He is like the last step in the chain, because Gus doesn't trust anybody else to collect this money but Mike. He's got a lot of faith in Mike.
That's good. That's good.
Mm.
That answers a lot of questions, because I wasn't sure. I was like,
Yeah.
this could just be the way it works. Like the guy, I mean, who doesn't ride armed in this world, you know?
Well, I think because like we get to that conversation soon. Actually, we're getting to it like pretty much like now. There's one more scene in between, but like when Gus meets with Mike, he does say, Gus says, I think he says something like, I can't remember if he says, I will reimburse your guy's car or I'll reimburse your car, but
Mhm. Something like that.
something like that. But like, yeah, it's definitely orchestrated by Gus, right? This is all a plan to. This is all a ruse to get Jesse back into the show, back, like get him some confidence again. You know, get some blood in his dick. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and Mike
uh,
letting Jesse smoke, I think, is a sign of like respect and a
yeah,
reward at the end of a long, hard day. But I also feel like there's like a bit of, I could see Mike being like, yeah, I have lung cancer from smoking cigarettes, and this whole day I've been like, no, no, no. And then at the end of the day, he's like, now you can have a reward. And he's like, go ahead, kid, smoke up. And I think it's a bit of a, all right, knock yourself out, dude. Like I feel like there's
it's good stuff.
yeah.
Also, I mean, like I know we've praised him before, but Jonathan Banks as Mike is so
He's
good.
great.
Like,
I think he's my favorite character, honestly. I
yeah,
really do.
yeah, I can definitely see that. He does so much with so little. Like in terms, and I don't mean like little as in like underwritten. Like Mike is just a character who does not emote much. Like he doesn't say much. Like
Mhm.
but Jonathan Banks takes that and like really runs with it. He's so good. Back at the White residence, Junior asks Walt for some coffee, and like we see Junior take a sip of this coffee, and it's quite clear he doesn't like coffee, but he'll drink it if he gets some time with his dad. Some
Yeah.
FaceTime with his father. It's actually really
Mhm.
sweet and really, really blink if you miss it. Blink and you'll miss it sort of like moment.
Yeah, and the how do you like it? He's like, black. He's like, oh, just like your mother. No,
Did you see Tyrus walking around earlier?
Yeah. Yeah, he slid out of the house earlier.
Yeah, and he took his pet snake with him.
Well, and the coffee cup too. I didn't catch that the first time I watched
Beneke.
it. I was like, I was sitting there. I was like, what is Walt staring at? And I was like, oh, Beneke, gotcha. Like, but we haven't seen Ted in like a season, right? Like it's been a
No,
minute.
we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him in quite a while. I will tease that he will be back.
Well, the sheet smelling different, the Beneke coffee cup, like that did kind of get my head a little like.
Well,
like,
Skyler's gone black, and I don't know if she'll go back.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. What's that, Family Guy? Once you go black, you go deaf. What, ear
You
sack?
go deaf.
That's such a good episode.
Junior says that it's cool to have him here. He's grateful to have his dad back. Skylar told him that he'll be moving back in on Tuesday. Like just completely circumvents like Walt's feelings about it. Just tells him he'll be back.
Removes control from Walt. This whole episode is Walt on all fronts losing control. It's like, yeah, you know, that animal's going to bite in that cage soon.
Exactly. Skylar told him that he'll be moving back on Tuesday. Junior's drinking out of a Beneke mug, which gets Walt's attention very briefly. And it's just a reminder of Skylar's, you know, past indiscretions that maybe sorry, I'm just reading a message.
You're good.
That maybe everything between them isn't as, you know, hunky dory as it was the day before. You know, like there is the underlying cracks still there. You know, like the damage is irreparable. We're still, you know, there's still some lingering doubts.
Right.
Walt arrives back at the super lab and Jesse's just cutting the ice like it's another day. Jesse tells Walt that Mike made pickups for dead drops and he guarded him. Walt just straight up asks him if this is a joke, right? This is a fucking joke. And Jesse says that he'll be rolling with Mike later again that evening, right? And Walt seems like a jilted girlfriend, dude. Like he's just like, oh, okay, well you go fuck Mike then.
No, I love that. The fact that he's left out of of any kind of plans, you know, is great. And I think Walt this has been a little bit of a long time coming for Walt because he's kind of gotten an ego. And yes, he is a chemistry genius, but that doesn't mean you understand all the facets of this enterprise. And he needs to be knocked down a peg.
Absolutely. Gus meets with Mike and we find out that the attack on Jesse was orchestrated by Gus. It all went like you thought you would, says Mike. Mike says he's got questions, but he knows better to ask, right? Like it's clear that he knows who Gus is. He knows that Gus isn't gonna give up the answers to the questions, but and even if he does, Mike doesn't really want to know. Mike's a pro, you know. This went all according to plan. The kid's a hero, and Jesse's confidence is boosted. He now has he has blood in his dick in his blood. At the dinner at Hank's, Walt's drinking, and he has that depressed look on his face. That look on his face of just like, I'm bored. I want to do something stupid. That's the fucking look. Walt goes into the kitchen to get another bottle of wine. In the background, Marie talks about migrants working in the car wash. Did you catch this in the background?
Yeah.
What they're chatting about, dude?
I thought, that was so fucking funny that, like, she's like, yeah, what about those dirty brown people? And like, Marie, you robbed from open houses, you stupid bitch. Like, Jesus Christ. She's
what
like,
about
Walt, can I borrow your
Arabs?
38? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
White woman shoots 12 people in a car wash in Albuquerque.
She doesn't know that her sister just slept with a black.
Yeah.
This episode is going to get us canceled, dude.
Yeah, you can say it. I can't.
I can't say everything. Can't say everything. All right, here we go. This is a great shot, by the way. Like, as Walt just stands there, sort of like wallowing in his own head. You know, he hates this so much, dude. He's so beyond this now. Like, you know, like he think about his everyday life. He goes to cook in a super lab for a criminal organization, and here he has to come back to like this menial dinner and just talk to fucking Marie and Hank, whatever. And like he's losing control of his own life, his own situation. And one other thing I really wanted to mention, I feel like, you know, Walt is so sensitive to the feeling of losing control because of his cancer diagnosis as well. I think that's also another big like factor of like, he once had cancer, he had no control over it, and now it's just kind of left like sort of like it's reverberated in his later life where he's just like, I don't want to have that feeling of being not in control of my own life like the cancer did. Like the cancer left me. I just feel like that's just another factor of like why he is
Yeah.
the way he is and why he needs to have control over things.
I 100% agree, and I think him sneaking away and sneaking these drinks and stuff is like the closest thing you see Walt to doing in the show that's like self-destructive and like a habit. Like, he's not a smoker, he's not a drinker, he doesn't do drugs. Um, but I just one thing I want to touch on when he comes back to the table and you can see Hank like, hey, pass me the bottle, and he just sets it down on the table like, fuck you. And you see Skyler has to grab the bottle. Like, I love that. I love that Walt. It's just these little micro aggressions of being like, no, fuck you. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see more moments of Walt sort of like acting out towards Hank as we go through the show. Um, but yeah, Junior asks Hank about Gail's case, and he says that he's off the case now. Crazy would be the wrong word to use for Gail, he says. Gail was eccentric. He was a real character. He was a meth chef, talking 5
Mm-hmm.
stars. Candle, white tablecloth. He was a genius, plain and simple. And man, oh man, this is probably one of my favorite moments in this entire show where we hear Hank talking about like heaping praise upon Gale, and we just push in. The camera just pushes in on 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 Walt's face
Mm-hmm.
as he just kind of is just like, we don't like this is false. He can't take this. His pride can't handle this, right? Um, like he's just listening to Gale get credit for his work, and it's so good. Hank, not to tell you your business, but I'm not sure I agree. You showed me the notebook, and from what I saw on those papers, genius? Not so much. There's no reasoning, no deductions. All the brilliance looks like nothing more than simple rote copying, probably of someone else's work. The genius of yours may still be out there, he says.
Dude, I mean, without a doubt, this is the dumbest thing I've seen him do in the entire. It almost pissed me off. Like, oh, shit, I just dropped my controller. I almost found it like almost unbelievable, almost kind of like I don't think I believe that Walt. Like, I'm glad that Walt has a bunch of alcohol in him because that's the only way I see this actually like happening in the show is like Walt making an ass out of himself while like being drunk. Um, because I'm assuming that I mean the way the show goes and what I know from the show, this is that first little scratch that Hank gets to peel the wallpaper off and expose Gus and Walt and everybody. So for Walt just to like his own ego to get in the way of everything is so cringe and embarrassing, and the fact that like they all could have lived happily ever after and not known, but the fact that like Walt could not keep his goddamn mouth shut is like what kicks off like ignites Hank's investigation again. So it was like this scene really kind of pissed me off the first time that I saw it, but it's like, but that's his one flaw. That's Walt's one thing that he cannot let go of is the fact that he has to be given some kind of, he's losing control the whole episode. He can't keep up with what's going on around him. He's being left in the dark. And then on top of it, if somebody else is getting credit for his work, like he can't handle it. So I think this is like, oh my God, this just sent the show in like a totally different direction, and I kind of hate it, but I kind of love it at the same time.
It's certainly infuriating because it's such a stupid thing for Walt to do, for Walt to do. But I will say that it is it is a completely believable character moment. Like
Yeah.
it is a completely like it's not out of the realm of possibility that Walt, being the genius that he absolutely is, I mean, like here he is, like here's Hank inadvertently calling Walt a genius.
Hmm.
Um, his pride gets in the way, and he feels that the credit should go to him, and the credit is being misplaced.
Absolutely.
I really dig this moment, dude. This is one of my. This is a huge inflection point in the show as well. Like at this point in the show, and I'm sure I mentioned a couple episodes back, there are a lot of like sliding doors moments in the show. Like if Walt hadn't opened his big fat mouth, we wouldn't get Hank like going back into the files and finding what he does at the end of this episode.
Hmm.
Um, But of course, like we'll talk about it now. So this, of course, sways Hank, right? Like Walt is quite convincing in his argument. You know, Tim stopped by, dropped off more boxes for Hank to look at. Marie seems very happy that Hank is doing something he likes again. You know, like we get a quick moment of Marie just sort of like she's smiling at like Hank sitting at the table there and just kind of going through the stuff. Again, another character who's found some purpose in this episode, right? 2 people get some purpose in this episode. 2 people get rekindled. Yeah, and it's interesting that it's both Jesse and Hank who are, you know, both 2 sides of the same coin. You know, they both have altercations before. Hank then questions the Los Pollos Hermanos bag since Gail was a vegan. Since when do vegans eat fried chicken? Boom.
Yeah.
And this is a classic Breaking Bad cliffhanger. We're gonna get a lot more of these where it's just like, stay tuned for next fucking week. Like, you know what I mean? We get like we don't do cliffhangers like this anymore. You know what I mean? We're gonna go back to this kind of fucking storytelling, dude. Like, this is what's good about I like the Netflix like way of distributing shows sometimes, but this, talk about water cooler at work discussion moments. Like, this is exactly how you get those moments. Like, you keep the people invested, you keep them coming back, you keep them sort of, you know, talking until the next Sunday when it's going to be like, oh shit, you know?
Right. Back when all the stuff wasn't on demand. Yeah.
Exactly. But look, that's episode 5. That's Shotgun. Very briefly, Colin, tell me your overall thoughts on the episode and where you think we're going from here.
I liked it a lot. Probably one of my more favorite episodes of this season. I think that we're definitely headed in a direction that is going to ramp things up on the meth side of things, because now things are so we've got an explanation for the car wash, got an explanation for the money. All things are good in Walt's personal life. So now I feel like the professional life is what's due to flip upside down. So I'm excited to see where it's going to go.
Cool. Awesome. Look, I've really got to run, so I'm going to go tie this thing off. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a lot of fun. I love these episodes of Breaking Bad. And it's so fun to go through this with you, Colin. So I'm stoked to continue on to this season and keep dropping good stuff for you guys. And yeah, we'll see you guys next episode 6. I don't remember the title, but yeah, we'll be back for it. I think it's Trap or Cornered. Cornered is the name of the episode. Cornered.
Gotcha.
Good stuff. All right, we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.